Good morning. It's Sunday morning, and here we are waiting for our Sunday service to begin, our Sunday ritual. This morning, though, we're going to do something different. We're going to consider why we do what we do on Sunday morning and how it all began. Some of these things we do today in Unitarian Universalist congregations are remnants from a distant past.
What are main features of religious rituals? The first characteristic is to bring forth a feeling of respect, awe, fascination, and even dread in relation to the mystery of our lives. Who are we? Where did we come from? Why are we here? Where are we going? The second characteristic is that religious rituals are stylized, usually occurring at the same time and place. Repetition is important. Woe to the interim minister who changes the order of service upon first arriving at a Unitarian Universalist church. A third characteristic is the use of words, actions, and objects that are symbolic. Our physical symbol, the chalice, was adopted in 1961 when the Unitarians and Universalists merged. A fourth characteristic is the embodiment of a system of belief or principles that contributes to a feeling of oneness among the members. Some Unitarian Universalist churches repeat the 7 principles during every service or have them incorporated into the decor of the building.
Because they are ceremonies of significance, the clothing of rituals can be important. High church or low church, the garments change. The unique attire signifies that there is something different from the everyday that is happening here. Wearing your Sunday best is meaningful to many. A common element of the attire, according to that occurs in Judaism, Buddhism, Christianity, Hinduism, and many other religions, is the stole. In UU churches, stoles are sometimes worn by choir members and directors of religious education, in addition to the minister or whoever is leading the service. The origins of the stole in our tradition can be traced to the prayer shawl in Judaism. The design of the stole often carries unique meaning for the person leading the service.
At the core, religious rituals seek to bring meaning out of chaos and bring one closer in community to consider the mysteries of existence.
Sounds announce the beginning of our ritual, whether it be bells, chimes, drums, or some other means. For thousands of years, humans have used sound to call us to prayer. We use the chime to draw our attention to the beginning of our celebration. Good morning, again. My name is Jen Katon. My pronouns are she, her, and hers, and I will be your worship associate. I am delighted to welcome you here. Whether you're visiting this morning or a regular member, please check with our greeters if you have any questions. Today, we acknowledge that we are located in a place that was once the Wampanoag village of Patuxet. We strive to follow their example and be faithful stewards of this sacred land. The theme of today's service is ritual. This service, as are all our services, will be posted on Facebook, our Facebook page and on YouTube. We also share our services on local public access television. Our service today is presented by Vaughn Keller. Our service is being filmed by Lydia Robertson. Today's music is offered by Emily Browder Melville. Because our services vary from week to week, we suggest you visit us again to experience the variety of worship we share. If you are a visitor, please consider signing our guest book, which is in the foyer, so you may receive our weekly e-blast. As a reminder, the last 3 rows on the right side of the chapel is our mask-wearing area for those who prefer to wear masks during the service. We are hosting coffee hour after service. We invite you to join us for fellowship and to partake in treats. If you are interested in helping out, please talk to Julia Thomas after the service. Whoever you are, whomever you love, whatever you believe, wherever you are on your journey, come walk with us this hour.
And now we enter our sacred space with opening words, opening actions. They all try to do the same thing, gather us and focus us. Many opening words express a longing.
Our opening words for this morning come from Gregory Pelly. And so we gather, away from the ebb and flow of our lives, thirsty for connection to ourselves, thirsty for connection to others, thirsty for the connection to a larger life. May all who gather here be filled with joy and hope, filled with compassion and love. Here may we be filled so that we may pour ourselves out into the world. Compared with other religions, neither Unitarians nor Universalists were concerned with the physical presence of evil. Because of this, we don't have acts of purification that take place in the rituals of many other religions. We don't shed footwear, change clothes, or wash our hands, as in the case with many rituals. We don't burn incense to ward off evil spirits. However, we do have one hymn, the first in our hymnal, that speaks to the purification rite.
Please stand as you are willing and able, and join together in singing hymn number 1 in the gray hymnal, May Nothing Evil Cross This Door. Please be seated.
Now that our sanctuary is purified, we light our chalice, the symbol we use to represent our search for meaning. At this point in the services of many Christian churches, the Nicene Creed is recited. Because we are a covenant religion rather than creedal, we recite our covenant, our promise to one another.
Let us say together,
Love is the spirit of the church, and service its law. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in freedom, to speak the truth in love,
And to help one another.
Good morning. Time for all ages. What did that used to look like? Do you think you know?
I forget.
There wasn't any. Nope. Nothing. Nothing. I know. It's hard to imagine. When I first started going to my Unitarian Universalist church in Westport, Connecticut, the grown-ups went upstairs, the kids were downstairs.
So it's the opposite here.
Yeah, you're right. We get to go upstairs here. At churches I've worked, the kids went downstairs, the grown-ups went upstairs. Then we started having a children's story, until some people realized that these stories are not just for children. They hold a lot more. And then that developed into a time for all ages. It doesn't just have to be a story. It can be Art and I playing around up here, putting on some skits. It can be a video. You like the videos? It can be something where everyone comes together or raises their hand or dances. We don't define things the same way for that period in the service where the children, the youth, and the adults are all coming together. What I did do, which is still around, and let's see how many of you remember this. We are Unitarian Universalists with minds that think, hearts that love, and hands that are ready to serve. That is a constant. What it looks like every Sunday may not be, but who we are and how we connect is always a constant. And children and youth get held up more and get to connect with adults more and become one congregation. Yay, us. And now I'm going to take the children and youth and any adult who wants to come along on an adventure of learning and discovery.
This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine.
Unitarian Universalists do not, on a regular basis, as other religions do, humble ourselves. Acknowledging our weaknesses, many religions consider this to be necessary, an antidote to self-righteousness and arrogance. They incorporate prayers of humility into their rituals. Yom Kippur in Judaism is an annual ritual. We do have 3 expressions of humility and confessions in our hymnal.
Please, if you would, turn to responsive reading number 477 in the gray hymnal. Let us say together, forgive us that we forgive ourselves so easily and others so hardly. Forgive us that we expect perfection from those to whom we show none. Forgive us for repelling people by the way we set a good example. Forgive us the folly of trying to improve a friend. Forbid that we should use our little idea of goodness as a spear to wound those who are different. Forbid that we should feel superior to others when we are only more shielded. And may we encourage the secret struggle of every person.
In the three Abrahamic religions, Judaism, Islam, Christianity, religious rituals incorporate readings, whether it be from the Torah, the Quran, or the books of the Bible. In many rituals, the reading leads into the lesson where the leader expands on the theme of the reading. In most UU churches, we reverse that. The focus is on the lesson, and the reading is chosen to expand the message. In addition, we choose readings that may have nothing to do with religious texts. This relationship, though, of reading and lesson, this combination, if you will, is a common theme throughout all the Abrahamic religions.
The reading this morning comes from E.E. Cummings. I thank you, God, for this most amazing day, for the leaping greenly spirits of trees and a blue true dream of sky, and for everything which is natural, which is infinite, which is yes. I who have died am alive again today, and this is the Son's birthday. This is the birthday of life and of love and wings and of the gay great happening illimitably earth. How should tasting, touching, hearing, seeing, breathing any, lifted from the know of all nothing, human merely being, doubt unimaginable you? Now the ears of my ears awake, and now the eyes of my eyes are opened.
The Western tradition of religious music begins with the Homeric hymns, a collection of ancient Greek hymns, the oldest of which were written in the 7th century BCE, praising deities of ancient Greek religions.
Hymns can be used to trace many ancient cultures, including ancient Egypt, India, and Greece. Christian hymns in the medieval times included Latin psalm texts from the Old Testament set to a simple melody called Gregorian chants and sung by monistic choirs. In Ephesians 5:19, Paul commands gathered believers to sing psalms, hymns, and spiritual songs, thereby singing and making melody to the Lord with your heart.
The classical tradition of European music was born in an early liturgical music of the Catholic Church. As the Catholic Church became dominant, music and cathedrals soared. The folk feel of music and the participation of that litany in the pews was forgotten. Magnificent music for the masses were written. The Protestant Reformation reversed this. Lyrics became important and were, again, often matched to folk tunes. Participation rather than performance became the focus.
Tastes change, theology changes, and hymns change in response. Ours have changed from black to gray and now teal hymnals. Guitars and bands have replaced organs in many churches.
Please rise as you are willing and able, and let's sing hymn number 1010 in our teal hymnal. We give thanks for this precious day.
Thank you. Please be seated. Whether called a message, a sermon, a homily, or lessons, the words of the leader are often the center of Protestant services. This is not true of other religions and rituals where chanting, prayers, and reenactment may be central.
It's good to know when to take a different road. Reflecting on the events of this past week, I'm going to take a different road than the one I had planned on taking this morning. It's often also good to know one's limitations and when to rely on others. A very good friend of mine, UU minister Deborah Hafner, posted a blog yesterday morning by Rabbi Danya Rutenberg. I found it to have both passion and perspective, and I believe we need both right now. I've done only minor editing in what Rabbi Rutenberg wrote. These are her words. There is no justification for the mass murder of innocents. There is no justification for bombing a dance festival, for kidnapping elders, children, peace activists, gunning down families, burning houses with people alive in them, for posting the murder of a grandmother on her own Facebook profile for her grandchildren to see it. Hamas's attack was a war crime. Murdering Jewish children is not fighting for human rights. War crimes are not the path to liberation. There is also no justification for blowing up buildings without warning, for bombing hospitals, the bombing of children, for illegal blockades that turn tiny strips of land into open-air prisons, for unlawful killings, forced displacement, house demolition, and land theft, abusing children in detention, restrictions on movement, dehumanization and collective punishment, over 55 years of occupation, and so much more. Hamas is not the Palestinian people. Netanyahu and his ultra-far-right government is not the Israeli people. Although, yes, the occupation has been going on since 1967, and that is ultimately a collective choice. Here are the words of Ahmad al-Jafari, the Palestinian chairman of the Parents' Circle, the Families Forum, an organization of Israelis and Palestinians who have lost family members as a result of the ongoing conflict. He writes, "My very dear friends, we are all in shock and confusion. The Palestinian members of the Families Forum worry about your safety, join in the terrible mourning of the Israeli people, and grieve for all the dead, injured, and kidnapped. We Palestinians are each shut up in our own towns. We are not allowed to leave our towns. We are very afraid of the future and horrible scenarios that may develop. All of us, Israelis and Palestinians, pray that the damn war will end soon, that fighting and violence will not start elsewhere, and that the killing of innocents on both sides will stop. Despite the great crisis, we are still determined in our belief that only an agreement and a political solution will bring an end to the wars, the suffering, the blood, the dead, the wounded, the kidnapped, the captives, and the imprisoned. Take care of yourselves, my friends, and we will continue to strengthen each other." Israeli Hajat Ofren of Peace Now writes, "Please tell me, how does the bombing and starvation of 2 million Palestinians in Gaza contribute to our security? And does it help us recover and come back to life after the terrible massacre we went through? And will it return any of the prisoners? Really? We bombed them and put a heavy siege on them for so many years and so many times. How does this contribute to security? Enough. Since Black Sabbath, we have already killed enough Gaza residents. We have shown them that we are stronger and that we can hurt them too. Enough. What we need is quiet. Start picking up the fragments. Revenge does not help." The American Reverend William Barber writes about the Hamas attack. "Some say in a moment like this, you cannot condemn the violence without also mentioning the violence that precipitated it. I will not agree to that position. I cannot. On one side of my own family, I come from formerly enslaved people who chose never to issue violence against the women and children of those who happened to be white, or even against those who held people in bondage. They chose to fight in the American Civil War, soldier versus soldier, and they believed in the right of self-defense. We are not talking about slaves versus slave masters in Israel today. But I know from my own context that an unequivocal no to the actors within Hamas who chose to commit these heinous acts could not dismiss history and the oppression of Palestinian people when they have been beaten and harmed by the actions of some, not all, in Israel. Nor does it dismiss a moral critique of Netanyahu and others who have enacted harmful policies. In this moment, however, we must be clear that terrorism is not a protest against injustice, but rather an act of despair that creates more suffering for everyone. Some people sometimes ask, well, where are the Palestinian MLKs? Where is the Palestinian Gandhi? They're in Israeli jails. When the residents of a town like Bilin try to protest nonviolently, as they have every Friday for years, the residents of the town are tear-gassed, jailed, put under curfew. Isa Amro, a prominent activist committed to nonviolence and civil disobedience, has been detained and arrested many, many times by Israeli authorities for doing things as legally nothing as filming soldiers threatening demonstrators and giving tours of Hebron. Same story with Abdullah Abu Rama. To get a sense of the ridiculousness, he's been charged with arms possession for collecting empty M16 cartridges and empty sound canisters left over from Israeli soldiers dispersing them against demonstrators. He was collecting them for an exhibition in a West Bank museum. And then, of course, there are the many Israeli-Palestinian nonviolence projects, like Combatants for Peace and many others. There are many things that could have happened to have prevented this moment. Israel's ending the over 55-year occupation at many points along the way would have been a great start. Another key factor contributing to this moment is Netanyahu's choice to prop up Hamas, including allowing cash to be funneled in from Qatar, evidently part of his plan to prevent the creation of a Palestinian state by weakening the more moderate diplomacy-minded Palestinian Authority. Let's not forget, Israel's Prime Minister, Yitzhak Rabin, and the Palestinian Liberation Organization's chairman, Yasser Arafat, had signed peace agreements in 1993 and then again in 1995, putting the process of Palestinian self-determination on track. Netanyahu spent July of 1995 rallying Israelis against the Oslo Peace Accords, manipulating through disinformation and inciting anger, violence, and fear. He even paraded around with a coffin bearing the words Rabin in Zionism. Rabin was murdered by right-wing Jewish extremist Yigal Amir in November 1995 at a peace rally. The peace process never recovered. Both Hamas's terror attacks and Netanyahu's election to prime minister in 1996 made sure of that. It is in both Netanyahu's and Hamas's interests for you to take extreme positions. The path to Palestinian freedom and to peace and safety for everyone requires seeing everyone's humanity and rooting for everyone's liberation. That's the way out. That's the only way through. In the Talmud it is written, "What did you see to make you think your blood is redder and more important than someone else's? Perhaps the blood of that other is redder than yours." Yes, there are structural inequalities. Palestinians are not free or safe. Injustices must be rectified, beginning with a telling of every truth. Friends, remember, both Jews and Palestinians have existed on that land for thousands of years. It wasn't all Jews before the Bar Kokhba revolt, and not all Jews left after the Bar Kokhba revolt. And the Jewish idea of returning that patch of land started because Jews weren't free or safe in Europe. It was expulsions, pogroms, inquisitions, murders, and more that led to the yearning for a Jewish place in the first place. Whatever the impact that has been, and the catalyst for the movement towards statehood was the Holocaust. Jews didn't have anywhere else to go. But that Jews weren't safe and free doesn't mean that we have a right to make other people unsafe and unfree. Trauma turtles all the way down. I know Jews are not safe now, and feeling less free this week than we have in some time. However, we can refuse to root for the safety and lives and rights of human beings like they are sports teams in which there are winners and losers, in which safety is a finite resource that must be hoarded. I don't know what the way out is politically, but I believe in finding the will and in finding the way. If we choose to look for it, we can get there. At the end of the day, everyone must be safe, free, and allowed to flourish, because everyone is holy, created in the image of the divine. Nobody's children should be killed. Nobody's. She concludes with a prayer of the mothers. God of life, who heals the brokenhearted and binds up their wounds, May it be your will to hear the prayer of mothers. For you did not create us to kill each other, nor to live in fear, anger, or hatred in your world. But rather you have created us so we can grant permission to one another to sanctify your name of life, your name of peace in this world. For these things I weep, my eye runs down with water. For our children crying at nights, for parents holding their children with despair and darkness in their hearts, for a gate that is closing, and who will open it while day has not yet dawned. And with my tears and prayers which I pray, and with the tears of all women who deeply feel the pain of these difficult days, I raise my hands to you. Please, God, have mercy on us. Hear our voice that we shall not despair, that we shall see life in each other, that we shall have mercy for each other, that we shall have pity on each other, that we shall hope for each other, and we shall write our lives in the book of life. For your sake, God of life, let us choose life. For your peace, your world is peace, and all that is yours is peace. And so shall be your will, and let us say, Amen. Please rise as you are willing and able, and let's join together singing hymn number 1008 in the Teal hymnal, When Your Heart is in a Holy Place.
Within all organized religions, offerings are commonplace. Believers bring something of value to support the existence of the religion, buildings, people, ministries. Buddhist monks in the morning walk in humility on their way to the temple and are offered their daily rice by believers who sit by the side of the road waiting for the monks to walk by. We do not bring rice as our offering, but you are asked to support the ministries of this congregation, and your offering will be greatly received.
So my little musical offering is from Bernstein's Mass. It's an excerpt from a simple song. Sing God a simple song, louda laude. Make it up as you go along, louda laude. Sing like you like to sing. God loves all simple things, for God is the simplest of all. For God is the simplest of all.
Please rise for our doxology. Please be seated.
Throughout the rituals of the Abrahamic religions, there is a time for prayers of petition, asking God for help. Religious leaders, political leaders, members of the congregation might all be included in these petitions.
Over time, in Unitarian Universalist churches, this has evolved into what we now call candles of joy and concern. As with prayers of petition, it is a recognition that we are a community, and we wish the best for ourselves and for others. In our congregation, we are still small enough that we can do this in person, briefly, that is.
And it's also for all the joys and concerns that we hold in our hearts that are unspoken. And let's take some time in quiet meditation to be with our own thoughts, our own feelings, and our own prayers. And let us join together in singing Spirit of Life. Spirit of life. We call ours a living tradition, open to change as we understand ourselves and our world in new ways. In doing so, our experience of our mission as a congregation also changes. We, all of us, determine what that mission is going to be. And we have a draft of a new mission based upon the work we did last year. And we're going to discuss this proposed mission after the service, and Cheryl and Linda and Art are here. They want to hear your feedback. So talk to them. And now we end our service. It is fitting and right that we come together to celebrate our life together, a life of justice, of compassion, and of hope. We extinguish this flame, but not the flame each one of us carries forward into the world. So go forth, my friends. Our celebration has come to an end.